Welcome to this week's live video. As several news items show, the AI race is heating up in China. First, in what some are calling a DeepSeek moment, referring to when then China's new AI model, DeepSeek, shocked the world with its prowess, achieved despite less restrictions on its access to the most advanced chips and at a much cheaper cost. On May 25th, just a couple days ago, Huawei announced that it has achieved new levels of semiconductor efficiency without focusing on the usual model of ever shrinking chips, Moore's Law, which requires access to the most sophisticated chip making equipment, EUV or extreme ultraviolet lithography machines, which the US has blocked China from accessing. So how does Huawei do this without access to EUV machines? It's, in simple terms, using a folding technique and taking what had been a flat chip layout and changing it so that computing blocks are layered upon the chip so that information can move more quickly. There are significant challenges to this new model. One obvious one is its potential to trap heat, leading to new defects in the chips. But nevertheless, this is viewed as having the potential to dramatically shrink the gap that Huawei has with its global rivals like TSMC. So very big news indeed. The second big piece of news related to AI, Bloomberg is reporting that China has decided to restrict the ability of AI executives, startup founders, researchers, and executives from traveling overseas. Now, this is not new for China's business sector. For quite some time now, top executives in state-owned firms, including at banks, as well as top college researchers, have faced restrictions on travel overseas. They are required to apply in advance through their companies or their employers before they travel overseas. And these firms have actually held their passports, so making it impossible for them to actually travel overseas without permission. What's new here is restrictions being imposed on executives from private firms. So again, the startup founders, also researchers and executives at AI firms potentially having to get permission before they travel overseas. The goal, of course, although I would say a misguided one, is to try to prevent leakage of Chinese technology, AI technology overseas. Obviously, the big news on that recently is China's move to block and order the unwinding of Meta's $2 billion acquisition of AI firm Manus. So finally, the third piece of news, as reported in the Wall Street Journal, while in the U.S., we're seeing new graduates at commencement ceremonies booing speakers who commencement speakers who say favorable things about AI. In China, there are signs of growing concern about AI as well. Late last year, one of China's top officials asked the heads of some of China's largest companies, which are also their largest employers, how they expected AI to impact on their staffing practices. These were the heads of companies from automotive, from finance, and from tech. They said that as many or even more than 30% of employees could be laid off because of AI. That is believed to have caused a shock to the Chinese system, the government system. And late last year, The Chinese government warned some of China's top employers to avoid layoffs related to AI. We've seen courts in Beijing and Hangzhou rule against employers who mentioned or cited AI in their decisions to lay off employees. So those courts have actually ruled in favor of laid off employees that had lost their jobs because of AI. And we have seen Beijing instruct universities to provide training for new college graduates on how to adopt AI and become more resilient in an AI economy. That's it for this week. Tune in at the same time next Thursday.